The sun shimmered off the azure waters of the Mediterranean, casting its golden glow across the cobbled streets of Monaco. The cast and crew of Murder Mystery had settled into the rhythm of production, weaving scenes of humor, suspense, and star power. But while cameras rolled and laughter echoed through seaside villas, something deeper stirred beneath the surface, something unscripted and dangerously real. Adam Sandler, ever the affable clown of Hollywood, had found himself more introspective than usual during this shoot. His chemistry with Jennifer Aniston was undeniable. It had been since their Just Go With It days, but this time, it was different. The playful banter between takes lingered longer. Her laughter, more genuine. His eyes, more searching. Their relationship had always been professional, with a dash of friendly flirtation, until one particular night blurred that line. It began at a private wrap party held on a yacht rented discreetly by one of the producers. Jennifer arrived in a navy silk dress that whispered elegance. Adam, surprisingly dapper in a charcoal blazer, kept his distance at first. But as champagne flowed and the Riviera moonlight danced on the water, the two found themselves drawn together on the deck, away from the crowd. "I always wondered," Jennifer said, staring into the darkness beyond the railing, "what you hide behind all the jokes." Adam smirked, his signature half-grin in place. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me." He never did. But he kissed her that night. It wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was subtle. Private. Stolen moments in trailers, whispered calls between shoots, glances during press interviews that said more than any script could. The world saw two longtime friends sharing laughs, and never suspected what was happening behind closed doors. But there was a darkness, and it was Adam's to carry. Jennifer, known for her grounded spirit, had been burned by the spotlight before. She wasn't the type to fall for illusions. And the more she fell into Adam's world, the more she began to sense something off. Something he wasn't telling her. She asked once, "Why does it feel like you're performing even when we're alone?" Adam's answer came in the form of silence. Months passed. Filming wrapped. Promotions began. Paparazzi swarmed the duo with questions about their adorable chemistry. One tabloid published a grainy photo of them holding hands near a hotel elevator. Adam's reps dismissed it. Jennifer's team ignored it. Adam himself refused to comment, even when confronted point-blank during a press junket in Berlin. The denial became a wall. And Jennifer, tired of guessing what secrets lay behind it, started pulling away. That winter, in a snow-covered cabin in Aspen where they'd once promised to spend the holidays, she left a letter by the fireplace. "You're not who I thought you were, Adam. You hide things, not just from the world, but from me. I can't love a mystery I'm not allowed to solve." He never replied. But he never stopped reading that letter. The following weeks after Jennifer's letter felt like a fog had rolled in over Adam's world, thick, slow, and inescapable. He returned to Los Angeles, retreating into his mansion tucked high in the Hollywood Hills, far from cameras and fans, but not far enough from his own thoughts. His public persona continued as usual, goofy interviews, exaggerated laughs, and slapstick charm. But behind the scenes, something had shifted. The man adored by millions was now haunted by a silence he couldn't joke away. One evening, while organizing old scripts in his study, Adam opened a drawer he hadn't touched in years. Inside were black leather-bound journals, unmarked, personal, dangerous. They were filled with pages of confessions, not about crime or scandal, but about identity. Memories scribbled with trembling hands, childhood traumas, broken family truths, and most alarmingly, references to moments in his career when he claimed to be used. Not in the industry sense. Used. By whom, or what, was never explicitly stated. Just page after page of cryptic musings. They built me to entertain. I laugh, I distract, I mask. I'm a product of the machine. Jen saw too much. She asked too many questions. In one entry dated 2 days before Jennifer left Aspen, he wrote, "She touched something real in me. Something they warned me not to share. But how do you hide from someone who sees the real you when even you don't know what that is?" Jennifer had once asked about the scars on his upper arm. Adam had brushed it off with a joke about falling into a pile of Oscars I didn't win. But the truth, buried deep in one journal, hinted that the scars weren't from an accident, but from a surgical procedure he had no memory of scheduling. The deeper he read, the more he questioned what part of him was real, and what was manufactured. And worst of all, he began to suspect that someone, somewhere, was still watching. One night, drunk on whiskey and paranoia, he phoned Jennifer. She didn't pick up. So he left a voicemail, slurred but sincere. "I wasn't lying. I was just scared. Not of loving you. Of what would happen if I let you in too far. Because if I did, they'd notice." He hung up and smashed the phone against the wall. Meanwhile, Jennifer was quietly trying to move on. She'd flown to Tulum for a brief sabbatical, hoping the sound of waves could drown out the questions in her head. But they followed her, in paparazzi whispers, in cryptic fan theories online, and worst of all, in dreams. Dreams where Adam wasn't Adam. He was someone, or something, else entirely. When she returned to California, a manila envelope was waiting for her at the gate of her Beverly Hills home. No postage. No name. Inside, a single Polaroid photo. It showed her and Adam, asleep together on set. But it was taken from above, an angle from the ceiling. And that ceiling didn't have a camera. Jennifer's hands trembled as she held the Polaroid in the pale light of her hallway. It was them, unmistakably so. She recognized the moment, or at least the night, a nap between night shoots in their shared trailer on the Riviera. But the angle, the overhead shot. That wasn't possible. She was sure of it, there was no ceiling camera. And the trailer wasn't a studio rig. It was standard. Private. No surveillance. Unless someone had installed one without their knowledge. For hours, Jennifer sat in silence, the photo burning in her lap like a silent threat. Who took it? Why send it now? And why not include a note, a demand, a warning, anything? The ambiguity was worse than any threat. She considered going public. She still had influence, more than Adam in some circles. But then she remembered his last voicemail, the slurred urgency in his voice. The words, "they'd notice." She was beginning to suspect he wasn't being metaphorical. Unable to sleep, Jennifer contacted one of the only people she still trusted from the murder mystery set, Luca Marinelli, a lighting technician with a reputation for being sharp-eyed and discreet. They met at a quiet cafe in West Hollywood the next morning. "I need to ask you something weird," she said. Luca raised an eyebrow. "Coming from this town?" She slid the Polaroid across the table. He studied it carefully, then frowned. "I remember this. That night you both passed out in the trailer. We were doing rewiring until dawn. No one was inside. No rigged cams. Nothing on the call sheets about BTS footage. Are you sure? I'd stake my job on it." Jennifer's pulse quickened. "So how was this taken?" He looked up slowly. "Maybe it wasn't." She blinked. "What are you saying?" Luca leaned in. "Look, I'm not one for conspiracies. But there were rumors. About Sandler. Not just weird, famous person stuff. I'm talking, production-level hush-hush. People getting pulled off set without warning. Equipment disappearing. Dailies being wiped. Even an assistant editor said entire scenes would vanish from the server after Adam watched them." Jennifer swallowed hard. "And no one said anything? Who's going to accuse Adam Sandler of being I don't even know what? A studio puppet? A controlled personality? He's a walking laugh track. No one wants to believe the clown has shadows. Jennifer felt dizzy. That evening, she drove to Adam's mansion. The gate didn't open, it hadn't in weeks. His house was dark. No movement. No music. No television light flickering through the windows. She left her car parked along the winding hill and decided to climb over the gate. It was reckless. Desperate. But the unanswered questions were louder than common sense. Inside the property, things were worse. Dead leaves scattered the once perfect lawn. The pool was murky. The house, unlocked, smelled of mildew and old cologne. She found Adam in his study, asleep in his chair. Or passed out. A half-empty bottle of scotch on the floor. The same journal clutched to his chest. She knelt down, gently prying it from his fingers. It opened to a page marked in red pen. They rewrote me in '98. I don't remember signing anything. I just remember waking up and being funnier. But I didn't feel funny. Sometimes I see the edits. The cuts. I speak a line I never learned. I react to jokes I never heard. I watch my own films and see someone else's eyes behind my face. Jennifer felt a chill that had nothing to do with the room's temperature. Adam stirred. His eyes opened, bloodshot, lost. "Jen, you came back," he whispered. "I got the photo." His eyes widened, not with surprise, but with dread. "They know now," he murmured. "They know you know." And then, the lights went out. All of them. The lights snapped off in an instant, swallowing the house in thick silence. No humming electronics. No ambient glow. Just a void. Jennifer froze, her breath sharp in her throat. "Adam," she whispered. A creak echoed from the hallway. "Adam, what's going on?" But there was no answer. Only the sound of something, or someone, moving upstairs. Not footsteps. Heavier. Rhythmic. Like machinery concealed behind walls. The kind of sound that didn't belong in a Hollywood home. Jennifer reached into her coat for her phone. Dead. No signal. No flashlight. Then, faintly, a low-frequency hum began pulsing from somewhere beneath the floorboards. Adam rose slowly, his expression somewhere between sleep and panic. "They're here," he murmured. Jennifer grabbed his arm. "Who, Adam? Who is they?" He looked down at her, and in the moonlight filtering through the window, she saw it. His pupils were dilated, unnaturally so. His lips trembled. "I don't know what parts of me are me anymore." Before she could respond, a loud thud shook the house. The entire study vibrated, as if something massive had landed on the roof. A cascade of dust rained down from the ceiling. Adam turned toward the hallway and whispered something under his breath, almost prayer-like. Jennifer pulled him backward. "We need to leave. Now." But as she turned to the front door, she saw it had closed again. Not slammed, not blown, just shut. Quietly. Deliberately. "Adam," she said, backing away. "Do you have a back exit?" He nodded weakly and pointed toward the kitchen. But as they crept through the darkness, the humming beneath the floor grew louder. More rhythmic. It was no longer a sound. It was a signal. Jennifer reached the back door and grabbed the handle. It didn't budge. Locked from the outside. Then she noticed something on the adjacent wall, a keypad. Embedded into the plaster. Seamless, with no brand. The numbers on the pad were glowing faint blue, and blinking. "Did you install this?" she asked. Adam shook his head. "They did. When I bought the house, it was already here. Said it was part of the security package. But I've never touched it." Jennifer tried random codes, birthdays, premiere dates, film titles. Nothing worked. The keypad simply blinked and reset. Then, without warning, it flashed error, unauthorized presence detected. Suddenly, a deep voice, synthesized and inhuman, echoed through the house. Observation breach. Actor, Sandler. Subject, Aniston. Initiating Protocol 9. Adam fell to the floor, clutching his head. "No," he shouted. "Not again." Jennifer dropped beside him, panicked. "What's happening?" He was trembling now. His skin pale. Eyes wild. "They're erasing this. This moment. It won't exist. Not in memory, not on film. You'll wake up tomorrow and it'll all be gone." "Adam. They told me I was just supposed to be funny," he gasped. "That's all I had to do. Smile. Entertain. Keep the public laughing. But you saw something real. And that's a threat to the system." "What system?" His reply was drowned out by a high-pitched frequency that pierced the room. Lights exploded in sparks. The ceiling cracked. The house shook violently, as if tearing itself apart. Jennifer tried to drag Adam toward the garage door, praying for one last exit. But as she reached the threshold, Adam pulled away from her. "I can't leave," he said quietly. "They'll come for you too. You're coming with me. I've lived under their control for 25 years, he said. You still have a chance to wake up." Then, without warning, the garage door opened. But standing on the other side, not people. Machines. Humanoid, but cold. Faceless. Each one wore black suits like security, but their movements were too precise. Too smooth. Jennifer turned back, but Adam was already gone. Not run away, just gone. Like someone had cut him out of reality. A memory erased mid-thought. She stumbled out into the night, past the black-suited figures, who didn't follow. They simply watched. As if their task was complete. By the time she reached the road and flagged down a passing car, her heart was pounding and her hands were cut from climbing the hillside. The driver, a young man who recognized her, asked if she needed the police. She said nothing. Only whispered, "Take me anywhere with light." The next morning, headlines broke across all entertainment news outlets. Adam Sandler missing from Los Angeles home. House empty. No signs of forced entry. Jennifer waited for someone to question her. No one did. No investigators. No agents. No press. It was as if no one remembered she was the last person to see him. She tried calling the producers of Murder Mystery. Their numbers no longer worked. She searched online for Luca Marinelli. Nothing. No LinkedIn. No IMDb. Not even a birth record. Everyone tied to that night had vanished, erased from the web, and seemingly, from memory. All except her. And then, a new letter arrived. No return address. Just a single sheet of paper. You are awake. But now, you are alone. For weeks, Jennifer Aniston lived like a shadow. Her windows remained shuttered, her phone untouched, her social media accounts silenced. Hollywood, in its typical cycle of amnesia and distraction, moved on quickly. One headline about Sandler's mysterious absence was buried beneath news of a surprise wedding, a box office bombshell, and an A-list scandal. The machine churned forward, and Adam Sandler, once a fixture of American comedy, faded like an obsolete VHS tape filed away in a forgotten cabinet. But Jennifer couldn't forget. She couldn't forget the noise that split her skull, or the black-suited figures who watched her leave like she was a character stepping off a stage she was never meant to exit. Every night she dreamed of Adam, not the man she joked with on set, but something deeper, something fractured. She saw him walking through empty studio backlots, calling out to invisible directors. She heard his voice speaking lines not written, reacting to cues that weren't there. Sometimes he was surrounded by laughter from nowhere. Other times, he stood completely still, as if waiting for an audience that never existed. One morning, while reviewing the security footage from her home out of paranoia, she noticed a strange glitch. A frame, not more than half a second long, showed her sleeping in bed, but in the upper corner of the footage, distorted and frozen mid-step, was a figure. The shape resembled Adam. The clothes were right. The posture. Even the head tilt she'd memorized. But the face was blurred in motion, even though nothing else in the frame was. She paused it. Screenshot it. Zoomed in. Nothing helped. It wasn't pixelation. It was censorship. Like some digital hand had smeared away just one identity. Driven by desperation, she returned to the one place she swore she wouldn't revisit, Adam's home. The property was now empty, listed quietly by a shell company, all belongings removed, the house scrubbed clean. But Jennifer knew where to look. In the side garden behind the ivy wall was a rusted service hatch Adam once joked led to Narnia or a utility closet. She forced it open with a crowbar. It was neither. What she found was a narrow metal staircase spiraling downward, cold air rising from below. She descended for what felt like minutes, her footsteps echoing against steel walls. Finally, the stairs opened into a low, windowless room lined with storage racks. On them, tapes. Hundreds. All labeled in the same handwriting, Adams. Some said, takes, 2005, others, rehearsals, scrubbed, others had only dates. In the center of the room stood a table. On it, a reel-to-reel projector, already loaded. Beside it, a note. This is the part they left in. Jennifer flipped the switch. The room buzzed. The reel clicked to life. On the grainy black and white footage, she saw herself, on the set of Murder Mystery, eating lunch with Adam. But the audio, it wasn't right. Their mouths moved, but the voices were different. Slower. Controlled. As if someone had re-recorded the track. Adam turned to her in the clip and said, "Don't forget the script. It only ends when you walk away." Jennifer watched in confusion. Had someone re-edited reality itself? Then something even stranger happened. The projector footage began shifting, not cutting, not jumping, but morphing. As if the footage itself was aware she was watching and reacting in real time. Adam turned directly to the camera and blinked. "You're still watching," he said. Jennifer stumbled back. "This wasn't pre-recorded. I left you a way out," he continued. "You were never meant to get this far. I broke their rule, Jen. I let you see me. And now you have a choice, forget or follow." The screen went black. A mechanical hum filled the room. Then, a panel on the far wall opened. A door. She hesitated. Every instinct screamed to run. But something pulled her forward, something deeper than curiosity. She passed through the door and found herself in what looked like a soundstage. Massive. Unlit. Empty, except for a single director's chair facing a bank of monitors. Each monitor displayed different moments from Adam's life, SNL skits, red carpet interviews, blooper reels, childhood home videos, but also, moments that never aired. Footage of him alone in rooms, repeating lines over and over. Crying. Bleeding. Laughing manically into nothing. In one, he whispered, "They're still watching," over and over until a hand came from off-screen and shut off the camera. Jennifer turned around. And there he was. Adam Sandler. Or what remained of him. He looked older. Worn. His clothes hung off him like they no longer fit. But his eyes, those soft, sad, blue eyes, were the same. "Hi, Jen," he said, as if they'd just bumped into each other on a studio lot. Jennifer didn't know what to say. Her mouth opened, but her voice caught. He gestured to the monitors. "This is where they keep the real footage. The stuff that didn't test well." "What is this place?" "A vault. A prison. A studio. Depends on the day." She stepped closer. "Why me?" "Because you looked," he said simply. "You asked questions. And the moment you kissed me on that yacht, you gave me a moment of truth. They can't erase that. It changed something. But where did you go? Why didn't you run when you had the chance?" Adam smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "They never let me leave. They just moved me to a new set." Jennifer wanted to cry. Scream. Wake up. "But, you're real. You're standing here." "I am. And I'm not." He tapped his temple. "They built a backup copy, in case I ever glitched. One laughs harder. One sells more merch. But this version, the one that felt, they kept him down here. Because feelings aren't profitable." Jennifer walked toward him and took his hand. It was warm. Solid. Human. "You can come with me," she said. He shook his head. "If I do, you'll lose everything. Career. Friends. Memory. You'll be scrubbed. Like Luca. Like the others." "Then I stay," she whispered. "No," he squeezed her hand. "You live. That's the only way I matter. If you remember." He reached into his coat and handed her a small USB stick. "What is it?" "The master cut. The scenes they thought were too dangerous. Proof." "But why now?" Adam looked at her for a long time, then whispered, "Because I'm out of time." Before she could ask what he meant, the lights above them began to flicker. A siren howled from somewhere in the distance. "They've found us. Adam. Run." Jennifer ran. She didn't remember how she got out, only the cold night air on her face, the USB tight in her fist, and the distant, echoing sound of laughter fading behind her. Not joyful laughter, synthetic. Empty. That night, she drove 3 hours out of LA, rented a room under a false name, and uploaded the contents of the USB to a secure server. She watched every second. Behind the curtain of late-night shows, behind the outtakes and bloopers, was something else, the real Adam Sandler. The one who wept backstage. The one who broke down during a deleted scene from Click, muttering, "This isn't a movie anymore." The one who argued with unseen producers in a pitch-black room. The one who, in the very last clip, looked straight into the lens and whispered, "If you're watching this, I remember you." Jennifer Aniston wept. And for the first time in her life, she logged onto her social account and posted one sentence. "Not everything filmed is fiction." It went viral within an hour. Then it was taken down. She tried re-uploading it. Her account was locked. Then wiped. Days later, Jennifer disappeared from the public eye. No retirement announcement. No final interview. Just gone. But sometimes, late at night, a handful of fans across the world report seeing a video briefly flash onto their screens, a frame, a second, no more. It's Adam. Looking directly at the camera. Smiling. And behind him, Jennifer. Alive. Together. But unreachable. Like a deleted scene no one was meant to see.